we're just going to see what happens if you talk about anything that's of concern to you,
Okay.
and we'll see how we draw that out.
Sure. There's so many different like areas of my life I could talk about, and I guess I'm just like catching myself wanting to pick the right one,
Yes,
which
of
is like which is the
course.
one that's like really gonna pay off, but then also which is the one that's safer for, you know, the posterity.
Mm-hmm.
So
In focusing, there's a sense of what wants to be talked about. It's like paying attention to it. There's always an it, and it like there's a bunch of people. Somebody raises their hands. I want to be talked about, and maybe you could tune into that.
Sure.
Might not be the most important thing. It might be, or it might be anything.
So, one thing that wants to be talked about is my grandma is, I think it's safe to say, on her deathbed.
Oh wow.
She has been sort of wobbling on that line for like a couple of years. And I got the call that she's in palliative care. She made the choice with her most recent bowel obstruction, which has some kind of internal hemorrhaging going on with it. And basically it was, you either need to go to emergency surgery now and like probably die anyway and really uncomfortably, or we can make you as comfortable as we can for however many days you have left.
Yes, yeah.
And as somebody who has clung to life in the ways that she has, at least how I've projected that she has, but also we've talked about it, I consider her one of my best friends, and we say kind of anything to each other.
Wow, so she's clung to life and talked about that.
Yeah, she doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
And, you know, at the end of the day, she made the choice and is now in this beautiful room, like overlooking Central Park. It's like not at all what I imagine and what I've seen death in a hospital being like. Like, it's really beautiful, and the people are amazing in the ward, and like it really is seems like a wonderful place to leave.
Yeah.
And like a death doula came by with a dog, like, you know, it's like summer camp.
Oh wow.
But you're dying.
Yes.
And
it's a strange juxtaposition.
oh my God,
isn't it?
yeah, and like the kids are down the hall, like the newborns, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, so it really is like a full wheel.
Yes.
And I just find a lot of different emotions arising about it.
Well, maybe that's a place to just pause and see what arises about that.
Mostly it's just my love for this person and just the conversation that we have between generations and a family. Like, it's just magic.
Really.
I mean,
It's really amazing.
it's ridiculous. It's like, you know, like there's some things that she's said to me that I promised to never tell, but like some marital difficulties that she dealt with my grandfather, who she got divorced from. Like, we've talked frankly about this, and it's incredible to hear her experience and just like how relevant that is for this day, like this moment, like how unfortunately relevant it is. So that's like, and then you know, from my, you know, I was like exploring polyamory and like, you know, like discovering my queerness, and like she's like, ooh, what's a trans person? You know, I'm like, let me tell you, Grandma.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, you know, like,
and she was open to that.
she was like, I'm so curious. I knew none of it, you know.
Really?
And like her perspective of kind of getting scooped up really early, and her feelings of unworthiness that had her jump into the arms of somebody who ended up kind of being kind of a cad. And if I am using that word correctly, you know, basically just like, you know, madman. Like, he was an executive in that day and age, and
Yes.
you know, So I think what the first thing that comes up for me is just the gratitude and the love and the just awe of the miracle of our relationship. And then the right next to it is the guilt of all the times that I was gonna call and all the times I was gonna visit and all the kicking the can down the road, knowing that this week would come.
Yes. Let's give a minute to that first one, because sometimes the positive doesn't get the same airplay, of this gratitude and the miracle and the love. And your whole face lights up when you talk about her and these deep conversations with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's very special and unusual and amazing. Yeah.
It feels that way.
And then next to it is this feeling of guilt and I was going to call, I was going to...
Yeah, and for years, so my family has, my immediate family has all done landmark education and, I think all of us used to be leaders in the organization at some point in our lives. And so, my grandma's been around it for decades and if anybody could use some transformation, my grandma could. And it's for years it's just been I don't want any of that.
She doesn't want any of the landmark stuff.
No, and my parents gave up, and there was a period of my life and a period of our relationship where I really think I credit the work that I was doing at the time at Landmark for getting me to reconnect and make more time for my grandma.
Yeah.
And a lot of that time was me arguing and debating and fucking bullying her into
trying
doing
to
this
convince
stupid
her.
Course. That's a great course that I'm sure she would have got a lot out of, but it was just such a such a me hitting my head against the wall. It was just such a waste of time, I think. Look, I don't know, I also think that we found an edge to our relationship and were able to really talk frankly with each other in that space.
I get that.
But I guess I'm still frustrated that I just wanted the best for her and I just wanted her to get some freedom around the things that I think she's going to go to her grave regretting and worried about. And I've seen people resolve stuff so much more serious and intense in those weekends. And it's if it were ice cream, I'd be crazy about her eating ice cream even if she didn't want to try it. You know what I mean?
Yes. You were trying so hard to give her something that was a gift from you.
And she all she heard was bullying, and it was that killed me.
Yes.
Because I didn't want to do that. That's what my grandfather did. And, it's ironic, in those courses is where I discovered how I made decisions out of that relationship with that man.
Yes. Let me see if I get that irony, because that's really important.
Yeah.
That it was out of this experience that you got the courage, the impetus, the know-how.
That's where I got freed up from being bullied and being a bully to overcome
and
that
to
I
want
could be.
to connect with her. And you so wanted the best for her, but the way that the dynamic was, she felt bullied and controlled pressured, and there's something heartbreaking and ironic about that. But there was also this little edge that was that was the encounter, right? That you came up against her, you wanted this, she didn't want it, you pushed.
Yeah.
The two of you met nose to nose in that spot.
Sure. Yeah.
It was very authentic.
Yes.
It was very real.
I think it was. Yeah.
And she wasn't being bullied by you.
You think?
Well, something in the way you said that, it was
right.
like, well,
it wasn't. I mean, I don't. You know what I mean? Like
this happened. The two of you together,
right,
were in this struggle that was very genuine for both of you.
You could say that. Yeah.
But let's see how that feels when I say that, because that isn't really what you had in mind.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like it. You saying that is resonant on there are a couple relationships in my life that I can think of where I had it like I was messing up or doing it wrong, or just kind of like being too much. And over the years I've had other perspectives from various different sources and for various different reasons, where it's like, oh, that was just me projecting that. Like it was actually like maybe a different way. Like that's just a story I made up about it. I don't know if I need to give examples, but like I had it like I really did something wrong in a romantic relationship I had in college. And a friend reminded me that, like, from his perspective, she just like stopped talking to me for like 4 to 6 months, and like that was weird of her. It was like, oh my god, that's so validating. Like, and yes, I think we could go into it, but I think that was around the time that I had a real mental health episode in college, and was really overwhelmed at times. Just like basically a couple nights a week, I was like this really everyday boisterous, like alive, sort of creative force on campus. And then a couple nights a week alone with my girlfriend, I would just like break down into like inconsolable, sort of existential angst. And for no discernible reason. And I think it's just like some manifestation of something that never went diagnosed, but in looking at it after the fact with a clinician on campus, like just getting outside and like just like a couple of self-care practices really made a difference. But my point being that like that relationship, and like I'm in a growing pain in a relationship with a friend of mine where we're both upset at each other for related but sort of different reasons around communication, and both feel the other person hasn't been communicating with the other, or hasn't really been listening to the other. And I guess hearing what you just said is like, oh, maybe it's not like I'm right or she's right, or I'm wrong or she's wrong, and it's not about winning or losing, or like there's even a right answer, like
right. Like, so it was something about my sort of seeing the genuineness of that encounter with your grandmother, that
taking the scoreboard out of the room and not having it be like, Zach, like you messed up as a good grandson by like pushing a course, because like at the end of the day, what I was literally saying, now that I think about it, wasn't do the course. It was like get some freedom. And I think that this, and like our conversations are great, and you're going to hear stuff in a room with 180 other people that have had experiences that you've had that I can't share about, or that we just will never relate on.
Yes. So you could sort of have a sense of your own motivation, and rather than feeling like something went wrong and it was your fault.
Right. Like I definitely think I was guilty of being pushy and weird and bully-like and not great. You know what I mean? Like I definitely did that, but I don't think it was like, I think that was like maybe like 1% of the time, right? And then I'd catch it because I like to look when people are like, stop it, like, and tell me to rethink what I'm doing. And I'm like, I kind of try to take people earnestly. And I tend to jump on my own sword. Like, I think that I'm more prone to, sort of 20 lashings, 50 Hail Marys, and like, I think I default to being a good boy more often than not.
Yes.
And it can be a trap for me.
So how does it feel to have this moment of not jumping on your own sword? A moment of saying, well,
just opening.
Maybe it's not all maybe I didn't do something so wrong.
I just feel a lot of space right now, just like easier to breathe. there's like a tension in my solar plexus that I can have that kind of feel a little looser being with this, and I think I'm more alive to that joy immediately.
To the joy.
And just to the miracle of our time together, and that we wouldn't have the relationship that we have if we hadn't done that.
Yes. Oh, I'm taking that in. That you wouldn't have this miracle, this closeness, this intimacy,
if we hadn't
if you hadn't gone through that. Yeah.
And like, you know, my commitment to her is that she lived powerfully and lived the life she loved. Like that's the tagline of the program that I like. That's what I wanted for her. Whether it's I don't care what circus it happened in, and if it happened in our hangouts, all the better for it.
Yes, yes.
And at the end of the day, it's her life, and I can't pee for her. It's like one of my coaches used to say, like, we can't pee for you. And I'm like, you know, like I'm like, I think you have some things that are incomplete around your relationship with Grandpa, and like other like men in your life that I know of, and probably other people in your life that I don't know of, and like I would love for you to die complete, because I think that that's an incredible opportunity for a human being, just like period. And I love you, so of course I would want that for you.
You want that for her.
And it's like, what I think complete looks like isn't necessarily what complete needs to look like. You know what I mean? Like I have a picture in my head.
You want that for her, but your picture might
I'm attached
not
to something
be
that may be disconnected from
who
reality.
She is, or what her
like,
picture
you know,
is.
yeah, like who knows?
So maybe that's a place for us to sort of wind down there. That sense that you wanted that so much for her, but maybe that picture that you had wasn't the same for her, and that's such a hard thing to get, that the ones we love maybe don't have the same picture or way of seeing or feeling or being it that we want for them.
But if I had to choose between like no relationship or the one that I have the way it is and the way that it isn't, and like no changes, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I of course like a million times over would pick it exactly the way it is.
Oh yes, yeah. You would pick it exactly the way it is.
Over not at all, like, you know what I mean? Like, absolutely.
And maybe this conversation is a way of saying goodbye to her, a way of honoring her and being with her. I feel so glad to be introduced to her. And she joined us in this space.
Yeah. She asked me the other day, we had a really beautiful hour to ourselves, that when she's gone in physical form, to relate to her as if she's still here.
Oh, wow.
To talk to her. And act as if she's in the room with me, because if she has anything to say about it, she will be.
Oh, yes. Yes. What a wonderful invitation.
Yeah.
To sort of continue the relationship, even when she isn't here in body.
Yeah.
That you can still talk to her. And that she wants to answer you and be with you and dialogue with you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.